If you run a B2B finance business in 2025 and you're not utilizing AI, you are going to be missing out on millions of pounds. I'm telling you, I know AI is the buzzword these days, but it is literally taken over. And the businesses that are adopting now are going to win over the next 5 to 10 years. In fact, I would even say over the next 20 to 30 years because AI is not slowing down. In this video, I'm basically going to talk to you about how you can use AI to basically scale your B2B business. And it doesn't really matter what sector you're in. It's more about how you employ these things. So I'm going to talk to you about the tools to use and how to do it. I've got my trusty iPad with me, so I will be taking some notes. And the truth is, you do not have to be an AI expert to do it. And that's probably the best thing about this golden age of AI right now. It's the early adopting time, and you do not need to be a specialist. You can hire a specialist and they will implement for you. And it doesn't really cost that much, especially with what you're going to get in return. So I'll start off with the very basics. Most of you guys have your ideal type of client, someone that you really, really want to work with. And if you haven't thought of that, I mean, I'd be surprised. We're talking about B2B here. You know the type of businesses that you're aiming for. With that being said, the next layer, or the next level of thinking that you need to have is, what people within these businesses do I need to be contacting? That's very, very key. And you may already be doing certain things like cold outreach, cold calling. Your sales team might be calling all these businesses. They might have a list of phone numbers, probably doing cold email. And yeah, that stuff works. It does work, but it works even better when you implement AI in that process, because AI is going to make you more efficient and save more time. A lot of traditional B2B businesses that we talk to are stuck doing very outdated and old school methods. They're relying on referrals and all these tactics that don't really work anymore or are stunting their growth. And there's a business that we talk to right now that are doing multiple millions. And just by implementing AI internally and externally, we've been able to drive up revenue by 20%, which is very, very big when it comes to the bottom line. So first things first, know who you want to talk to. Then when we think about it, where are some of the biggest decision makers? Most of them are on LinkedIn. And me, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. So I'll give you a little bit of an idea of what we like to do. It's quite simple. Like I said, you need to know your ICP. And then you need to know their job title, the industry they're in, how many employees does that company have, and obviously geography. This will be dictated by where you're able to service your clients. Some of the finance businesses that we work with can only service in the UK. Some can do UK, USA. It really depends. So you're going to basically go onto Sales Navigator and you're going to do a little search. You're going to find these key decision makers. Then what we have done and how we utilize AI is we basically built an AI agent that does customized AI outreach. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it does customized AI outreach. So what this agent does is it will basically go on someone's page, right? And I'm just going to draw out someone's page here. Yeah, a little profile picture here. And especially on LinkedIn, this works very well because LinkedIn is where most decision makers are. And what our AI agent does is it will look at the person's name, obviously, their headline. So their headline is what they do, their bio that's on their page, their last couple of posts, and the company bio and the company post. And then the AI agent then sends a very, very specific message, a very, very gentle opener. But the benefit of this is it's hyper personalized. It's not about bloody spamming people's inbox. Everyone's tired of that generic LinkedIn spam style of, outreach. So instead, what we do is we open up with a very gentle message and then we follow up with a real voice note. Okay. So a real voice note takes place after. Now, this voice note comes from me. Like when I do it, it literally comes from me and then I upload it as an MP3 file and my AI agent can now deploy that voice note after the first message. So we send a little message like this. Hey, John, I saw your business Scaling Edge is doing really, really well. And I saw your last post about AI outreach. Mind if I send you a quick voice note? Then I just send the voice note anyway. And that voice note is a big, big pattern interrupt because most people on LinkedIn are just so used to like getting spammed. So now I send a voice note, it feels real, they respect it, and they want to talk to me a little bit more. So that's how I break up the monotonous nature of cold DMs on LinkedIn. Now I'm targeting my ICP and then basically have some KPIs for this. But after I send them the voice note, I offer them, I always give value. I give value, give value, give value. And then when they say, yeah, I love it, I send them a video. This video is in two places. It's just a normal Loom video, screen recorded, me going over a few bits and bobs. But I also then follow up with a link to book a call with me after having some back and forth. Obviously, you've got to have a conversation, nurture your leads and see if they're the right fit. And then on my landing page, I have a video. That video explains my service. Then I have a calendar underneath that video. And underneath that, once they book in, they then get an SMS and an email from me. The email is basically giving them some value before the first call. It might be a video, just like this, explaining what we do, how it works. Then the text message is just a reminder and, hey, watch this video. Then when they book a call, they then go onto a landing page, which basically has another video with all my FAQs. People need to know as much as possible about your service before they get on a call, especially if you're doing outreach. Because one of the big things with outreach is that basically these people didn't come to you, you came to them. So when it comes to the position of power, you're already a little bit beneath them. And that's just the reality of doing outreach. However, you want to fill them up with as much confidence before talking to you. And that's where the FAQ page comes in. And then after that, obviously you take the meeting and hopefully you make the sale and everything's good. So what tools do you need to actually make this a success? One of the tools that we use to build agents right now is make.com. Yeah, so this works very easy. It's very simple to build. You do not need to know any coding. If you're a CEO or a founder, all you do is just get someone on your tech team to do it and they will learn it very quickly, especially if they're on your tech team. Alternatively, you could do it yourself. It's not that hard. Another software that we haven't used but we know works very well is NAN. And then you could actually create this in Zapier, although Zapier is not as dynamic as those other two. Another thing that we also use is Go High Level, because Go High Level pretty much has everything when it comes to AI. Although their services are not as good as make.com and NAN, Go High Level does have a lot of internal things that we can use to start implementing AI and scale your business. So now we understand that we can use AI to scale our outreach, but there's one more thing that I like to do, and it's basically adding multi-channel touch points. So that means essentially when we target someone, the first thing that happens is we obviously aim to get to our ICP, right? So I'm going to draw a little profile picture of my ICP, right? And then that person, they get that DM from me. But then the AI software that we use will actually go and search them and do some research and get their email for me. Now, with that, I then also email them. So now they're getting a DM and an email. Again, all using AI and hyper-personalized. And the very, very last thing that I'll do, which is a human element, and I don't always do this, but it can be done, is if they have their number available, I will then also give them a phone call. I can't draw phones. I'm not very good at drawing phones, but I'll give them a phone call. So just using that alone has allowed me to scale my outreach by, quite a lot. Now, the next thing is to understand your numbers to make this successful, because what a lot of people do is they kind of get excited, they get the AI agent and they just start sending, and they think that, they worry when they don't see success, or they think that's going to just turn into money like that. So your numbers are very important. And these are the basics that we go for. So if you're on LinkedIn, you run a B2B business, obviously LinkedIn is probably where most of your leads are. You've got to think about maximizing your potential. To maximize your potential, you need to be doing a few things. First things first, you've got to upgrade to Sales Navigator, right? Sales Nav. And the benefit of Sales Nav is you get 200 connections per week. So let's just say you get 200 connects. I'm just going to put CNX as connects. And then from there, we would be aiming for about a 40% acceptance rate. All right. So that gives us some very, very somewhat clear KPIs on what we're trying to achieve. So that would be around 80 connects per week, right? Or people that actually accept your thing. Then from there, obviously, you're going to send 80 messages. Right. And with 80 messages, depending on how well you've scripted your messages, on the lowest end, you should get about a 25% reply rate. On a high end, we'd be looking at a 50% reply rate. Obviously, we all want to have 50. That's what our goal is. Let's just work on the lowest end here just to see what could be done. So 25% of this will give us 20 replies. And then if we get 20 replies, I am aiming for a 10% booking rate, right? So from here, that means I'm booking 2 calls per week, 2 qualified calls. So 2 calls, and that's per week. Now, if I'm good at sales, I'm decent on cold traffic, I'm probably looking at a 25% closing rate. So from those 2 calls alone, obviously you're not going to make money because you probably won't close just 2. But now, just from this, you can see where volume is important. Now, as a founder, the likelihood is you have a team. Everyone in your team should be doing outreach. And the reason that they should all be doing outreach is because ultimately it's going to help you make more money and it makes sense. So if we scale these numbers, you can see the probability of success just increases drastically. So even if we doubled everything here and we turned it into 400 connections, that's just 2 profiles, 400 connections a week, we probably could book about 4 calls a week, 25% closing rate, that's 1 new lead per week. And most B2B services, you guys are charging a lot, 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand, depending on what your retainers are, so on and so forth. You are literally able to print money, and it's all through the power of AI. Now, don't get twisted. You also have like a residual effect because you're collecting all of these connections, right? So that's one thing. Then the next side of that is posting content on platforms like LinkedIn and sending out emails and building a newsletter, because now you're nurturing people that are in your audience but they're not ready to buy right now. And the benefit of this is, well, AI can do most of it for you. With the right AI tools, which is basically, I use ChatGPT, but I have a trained ChatGPT that basically helps me create content like that. So this allows me to nurture my audience. I know my ICP and I'm able to get them closer to buying from me. Now, we're not done. because the benefit of LinkedIn is there's so much you can do. The next thing you could do here is host live events. Now, the benefit of doing live events on LinkedIn is you can invite your whole network. Everyone that's in your audience that you've taken this time to build can now be invited to this event where you're basically going to give away a ton of value and help people. So for me, LinkedIn live events is one of the biggest game changers, and it's something that we are starting to implement even more by hosting workshops on a regular basis. You only need to do 1 or 2 a month. Invite all the founders in your audience that you've built. You can invite them through LinkedIn. You can invite 1,000 founders on LinkedIn. And then you can also email your whole list to invite them to your next workshop or live training. And that's where you give away a ton of value. Okay. Then from there, you're just having tactical conversations. You need to have an automated system where you follow up with all these people that come to these workshops and these webinars. And that's where the power of having something like Go High Level, where you can literally create workflows, will do it for you. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about the exact workflow that I use to follow up with all my leads that join my workshops, all you got to do is press the little link in the description. You'll get a link to join Go High Level and you'll get all my systems, all my automations for free. Okay. I'm not charging a penny. I think you get a 14-day free trial. So it's worth it. And you can see if those systems work for you. All right. So to wrap this up, if you are not using AI in your business in 2025 and you run a B2B business, you are going to get left behind. Your competition are going to beat you. And if you continue to wait, I don't know. I feel sorry for you. Now, if you want to know exactly how to utilize AI to build a solid content system, all you got to do is watch this little video right here. Peace.